Open up your mind and imagine the possibilities. Broadcasting live to you worldwide from the great Upper Midwest. This is Night Talks Radio. Want more Night Talks? We have you covered. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter at Night Talks Radio for bold and truthful commentary, breaking news, show updates, program guest information, and so much more. And hey, thanks for listening.
Hey guys, this is Jennifer Gregerson. Night Talks Radio News is coming back exclusively on NTR Facebook. I'll bring you the latest news without the mainstream media spin. The real stories, the real facts, the real truth. Because here at Night Talks Radio News, I do not comply with fake news. Night Talks Radio News, weekly with me, Jennifer Gregerson, starting this month on NTR Facebook.
Live your life within the moment, and don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away. To the groove and the light that flickers. We get lost in the crowd, it's getting thicker. We get away from the drinks and chatter. Haven't said a word, but it doesn't matter. Feel the air get thinner. Standing in a blurry dream. No one else can see her. Live your life within the moment.
From the great Upper Midwest, coast to coast and nationwide, around the world online, this is another edition of Night Talks Radio. Well, first off, folks, you are not looking at your calendar wrong this time. The actual date is Saturday, May 28th, 2022, otherwise known as Memorial Day weekend. We have things back on track here at NTR. And we plan on bringing you some amazing guests and a few surprises in between. First, however, we would like to apologize for last weekend and the continuing debacles that plagued our in-home studio. This time, however, I won't name any names, wink wink, but somebody pushed the magic red button. When I worked for the railroad, we called that red button the oh shit button. In the radio industry, you might as well call it the same exact thing, because when it's pushed, you go, oh shit. So I probably don't have to say much more. That should probably describe to you the situation that the show, the broadcast, was in last weekend. Because we did have plans on being on the air both nights. But that's okay. We ended up solving the issue. It took a few days of figuring out what was erased and what needed to be found again and restored. It only took 48 hours or so, but that still left us with plenty of time to prepare for this weekend's shows, which, you know what, folks, are going to be much, much better anyway. First and foremost, it's Memorial Day weekend, so of course, NTR, as the kids say, will be bringing the hotness, yo, to your radio airwaves. Tonight, we even have a special guest sit-in co-host, so that's going to be something new. Our guest, of course, is going to be June Lundgren. June is a paranormal investigator, an author, and a demon-seer. She had some incredible stories for us before we decided to put her on the air tonight. And folks, I can tell you these stories will put a bit of a chill into you, even though it is the end of May and summer is right around the corner. June at one point was even dead. Let me repeat myself in case you didn't hear that correctly. June at one point was dead, deceased, no longer existing for a period of time. So, with that said alone, get ready for some intriguing and stunning stories and tales that June is all set to tell our wonderful audience. Of course, we will also discuss her book and where one could find said book for your reading pleasure. And we will also open up the caller lines. 15 past the hour in our second hour. And folks, here at Night Talks Radio, we do have a additional call-in line for you. Of course, the nationwide call-in line is 1-507-384-9390. Now, we have a new line for you as well, which we would like to reserve for first-time callers, but if you have to, you can also use this line to communicate with the show and June if necessary. That is the first-time caller line at 1-507-307-4424. And of course, you can always drop a line in our chat room if one is slightly afraid to reveal themselves on the air. And you can ask a question that we shall pass on to June, and hopefully you shall get an answer. So with all that said, and without further ado, because God knows we've made you wait long enough with our wonderful in-home studio, coming up next on a Saturday night edition of Night Talks Radio, it's June Lundgren. So don't move a muscle. We'll be right back. Happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody. You're listening to KNTN, broadcasting on Spreaker.com, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, and Google Podcasts. Join the conversation. Hello, folks, and welcome to yet another edition of Night Talks Radio. We've been missing in action for a few weeks, but we're back, and we're bringing the best possible quality for this Memorial Day weekend, as our guest tonight is June Lundgren, a paranormal investigator, a demon-seer, and an author. So, with further ado, we would like to welcome June to the show. June, are you there?
I'm here.
How are we doing tonight, June?
Doing pretty good. It's kind of a blustery night, but hopefully we won't lose our power.
Right, yeah. We had that issue a few days ago ourselves, actually. I know that we were talking about weather before the show came on. Yeah, we lost power ourselves. Where exactly are you from, if you don't mind me asking?
I live in Oregon City, Oregon. It's a small farming community outside of Portland.
Okay, excellent. To kick things off, can we start by asking, can you tell us just a little bit about yourself to the audience?
I was born with these abilities. I have psychic abilities, mediumistic abilities. I can hear and see demons in their true form, and I can remove them. I've always been able to see and hear them. I've only been removing them for the last 35, 40 years, somewhere around that period of time. I served in the military for a time. I spent 5 years in.
Okay. What branch, if you don't mind me asking?
2 in the Army and 3 in the Air Force.
Understood. Okay.
Wow.
And got my nurse's training there.
Okay,
Awesome,
excellent.
awesome. So, June, now you said that you started this at a very young age. Can you tell the audience how young you were exactly and how you felt when you were able to actually see the demons and hear the paranormal?
I've always been able to communicate with animals and see dead people and things like that, and I've always been able to see demons, but how I saw them changed when I was about 4.5, almost 5 years of age. I used to see them as most people do, where the image that you have in your brain, which is devil's horns and all that sort of stuff. But I saw them as masses. But about 4.5, 5 years old, how I saw them, how I perceived them changed. And in the way that Michael the Archangel's always been with me since birth. And he said, don't be afraid. He said that you're seeing them through our eyes, through angelic eyes. He says, you see them as we see them in their true form.
I see.
So I learned, a long time ago to accept them. I mean, people ask me, what demons look like. And I say, they look a lot like angels, archangels, in the way that they're all both 7 feet tall. They have 12-foot wingspan. But whereas archangels are all white and they have distinct features, the demons are dark, almost an ebony black. They have almost no features on their face. The one feature that stands out is the eyes. In old demons, they're golden color, and then the younger demons and minions, they're red. So it's very distinctive. But when you look into the eyes, it's every atrocity, every evil you can imagine and beyond.
Oh, wow.
It's the stuff that nightmares are made of. That's why I can have people see what I see, and only 2 people in all the years I've been doing it have wanted to see, and they didn't want to see afterwards.
Yeah,
they wanted to be rid of it quickly.
That sounds
kind of freaky.
terrifying, to be honest with you.
All right.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not for everybody. It's something that you don't choose to do. It's something that that God chooses you to do it.
You're chosen, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was in 1986, I died and went to the other side. I was killed essentially in a motorcycle accident.
Yes, this is what I wanted to talk about. Explain that to us.
She ran a red light and hit me on my bike. And next thing I know, I'm going through the white light, and my grandparents are greeting me, and Michael's there.
Okay.
And Michael says, you have to understand, you're here for a reason. He says, you're here to understand who and what you are. And I'm still thinking like I'm in my body. I'm still thinking, well, I'm just me. That's it. Michael says, no, it's not. You're not just you. And he touched my forehead, and I relived all 130 lifetimes that I've lived before this one.
Wow. Oh, my gosh.
And he says, look upon yourself. This is who you are. I said, well, I don't have a mirror. And a mirror suddenly appeared. And I looked like him in the way that I was, 7 feet tall, 12-foot wingspan.
Right.
But I had dark auburn hair, blue-green eyes, and I looked totally different. He says, this is who you are. He said, your soul is Ariel the Archangel. So she was sent to relive human lives until she learned to have compassion. Your physical body was created to hold her, as the vessel to hold her, so that she can do the work in the physical world that she's unable to do.
Wow.
So do you feel different with her inside you?
I've always known that there was something different, that there was, that I knew things when I shouldn't know things, and that I saw demons differently than other people do. But people say that when they're with me and Ariel comes forward, that they see physical manifestations. They see wings coming out of my shoulders. They see my eyes turn white, and my face and voice changes.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, we do have a guest speaker here, too. His name is Ray. He's going to ask you the next question, so if you can just hold on just 1 second.
Yep, that's fine.
Right into it.
So besides vanquishing demons, what else do you do?
I'm an animal communicator. I do communicate with animals. I hear animals like I'm talking to you. I have full conversations with them. A lot of people have friends that are animal communicators, and they either get emotions or pictures, things like that, but I get full-on conversations.
Wow.
I do intuitive readings. I obviously can talk to the dead. I can talk to God and the Galactic Federation Council and all the higher realms of existence. It's something that I've always done it, so for me, it's normal.
Yeah, it's like second nature.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the same as for a while there when I was younger. I spent too much time on the other side, and I realized I was, spending more time talking to the other side than I was the physical world. So I had to reassess and learn to, give it equal time, so to speak.
Right.
Because I have to survive in the physical world.
Right. I can imagine that would be pretty shocking in nature.
So real quick, do you have to do anything special to ground yourself?
No. It's like flipping a switch. She's always in the background, so, one time they told me, you should learn to meditate, and I'm like, oh, okay. But the problem is when I don't have to meditate, I'm there the minute I think about communicating with the other side. There's no noticeable switch, but people say that when I'm I'm dealing with the other side, that I look like I'm far away, and I'm like, one part of my brain is, the other part of my brain is paying attention to what's going on in the physical world as well.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
I got to ask, I'm quite curious, does anybody else in your family happen to carry any of these type of traits that we're speaking of now?
I come from a long line of Irish women with all the abilities are handed down to the females in the family. And my grandmother told me when I was born that there was a prophecy that was handed down from generation to generation from like the 1400s about a female child being born with the ability to see, communicate, and kill demons. And she said that she knew the moment I was handed to her as a baby that I was the one that would be what I was supposed to be doing. But she never said anything to me about it until after she died.
Why do you think that is your destiny?
With Ariel, I can't exactly avoid it. When I was younger, I had to. It's kind of hard. It was kind of hard to control, quote unquote, control her. But she would come out at the most awkward moments. It's like whenever she sensed a demon around, it didn't matter who or what she was doing. I was doing. She was like front and center. So we had to have a long conversation about that.
So because of your background, do you have any spirits that follow you or that have been around you since you were little?
Besides Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, they are the Legion of Light, which is God's elite, is it's called the Legion of Light, and Ariel, Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael comprise this legion, and they are in charge of all of the other archangels and all the other angels. They are the elite demon slayers. And so they've always been with me no matter what. And my grandmother, after she died, she's with me. And then my older sister who died, she's one of my guardians. And my great-great-grandmother is the other one.
Okay. So how many years have you been investigating the paranormal?
Well, professionally, all my life, but professionally, only the last 40 years.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. I do have another question for you. What is one of the most scariest paranormal experiences that you've come across? Not that anything could really bother you. You destroy and see demons all the time, but...
Yeah, it's just normal. I think one of the most interesting cases, let's put it that way, the most interesting cases...
There you go.
...was a possession case where the woman had 11 demons residing within her. I had done a show called Clyde Lewis's Ground Zero. And he did a 4-hour special on me, and I got over 200 requests for help in the first week.
Wow.
After the show. And one of them was a local woman that, she says, I've been possessed for 20 years. And I'm like, send me a picture and I'll tell you if that's right. And so she sent me a picture. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, I get it. So I asked a friend of mine who's an ordained minister. I told him, I said, God's telling me that you need to come with me. He says, because you fear the dark ones. And you cannot fear the dark ones and do his work. So he wants you to come in on this. And then my para-partner that, I formed the paranormal group, Ghosts and Girls Paranormal. And it's myself and another girl. And we specialize in negative entity identification and removal. So she came with. And I told her, I said, you need to prepare yourself because this is, you've never been on something like this. This is something that will test your faith.
Right.
Plain and simple. So we got to the location, went out into the apartment, knocked on the door, and the woman answered, but it wasn't really her. Her eyes were black, and she growled at me and told me, "B, get out of here," and then slammed the door.
Well, I would be turning around and running back to my car immediately.
Our friends are looking at me like, "What the heck just happened?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it. It's just a demon." Knock on the door again. And she was there. It took a total of 3 hours to remove everything. I was down to the last demon, and it was refusing to come out of her. And Ariel had been out for 3 hours, which she's never been out that long before. And she told the demon, if you want to go home, I can ask Jesus if he will come and take you home. If you really and truly want to go back to the light.
Wow, so they can go at any time.
Yeah, I said, he can help you. And the demon's like, "No, that can't be. How can that be?" And I said, "Jesus, come forth." And my friends are standing in front of me, and they part as this huge arm and hand come out towards the woman. Mm-hmm. And Jesus came and said, "You can come home." And he said, the demon said, no, you're tricking me, you're lying to me. And he went deeper down into the woman. And I'm like, okay, so be it. I can go reach into the demon's mind and find out why it's there, what it was doing, and all that sort of stuff. And I said, you were given an assignment by Lucifer, and you failed to do the assignment. I said, so you're hiding out from him. I said, since you won't go to the light, that's fine. And I heard Ariel say, Lucifer, come forward. And this entity appeared at the end of the hallway leading to where we were, and my friends saw it, and they're like freaking out. What they saw was a shadowy figure wearing a fedora, double-breasted suit, spats, that type of thing. I saw him in his true form, and he came towards the woman, and he told the demon, come with me. You're not. It's not happening. You need to come with me. And the demon said, no, I'm not going to. And Lucifer looked at me and said, I know you don't want any harm to come to the woman, so I will be back to collect the demon tonight.
Wow.
So he turned and walked away and left. And I told her, I said, this is what he said. He'll be back. And we all went home, and we all woke up at 3 a.m. in our respective beds, and we heard Lucifer say, it's done. And I called the woman the next day, and she was crying. It's like, I haven't felt this way in over 20 years. She said, I feel empty of them. I said, you need to get counseling. I said, please get counseling. I said, you have PTSD with this long with these things. And she did. Last time I talked to her, she was heavy into her counseling, which is good.
Wow, so you were able to get rid of all 11 demons.
Yeah. One way or another, they're coming out.
That's amazing.
Could you explain to me the difference between a demonologist and a demon-seer? Or are they the same thing?
There you go.
No. A demonologist, Webster's dictionary says a demonologist is someone who studies demons, the literature, the history, all that sort of thing. And then there are people that think that all demonologists can go in and they can do exorcisms, they can remove demons, but that's not true. And when I started doing this professionally, I talked to my grandmother, and I said, I don't want to be called a demonologist. I said, I've run into too many fake ones. That's not for me. That's not what I am. And she says, why don't you call yourself what we call you in the old country? I said, you're a demon-seer. So that's why I call myself a demon-seer, because I can remove them. I can kill them. I can talk to them. I can see them. And they fear me.
Speaking of demon-seer, that's the name of your book. Is that not correct?
Yeah, my new book, the first in a series of 4, is called Demon-Seer, The Awakening.
Okay.
And it talks about how negative entities are influencing the world right now and the people within the world, how they work. And there's a chapter on protection, because a lot of people are misinformed about what will protect you and what won't. So
Right.
that's in there, and I've talked to Keith and Carl Johnson. They're demonologists.
Oh, yes.
They've wanted to be in the book, so I've got a lot of links for people. Raphael, the Archbishop of the Order of Saint Michael of Exorcists, he's agreed to be in there, and some other people, so that people that need help, because I'm on the West Coast, and a lot of people are on the East Coast. Although I do remove demons from a distance, all I need is a picture or an email.
Oh, okay.
And I've removed them as far away as the Netherlands, Australia.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, yeah, I would definitely like to talk a little bit more about that book later on in the program, and also where people can pick up that book online or in stores. But real quick, if you could let the audience know, so exactly what does a demon-seer do? Can you explain the type of performances you had to do, perhaps?
It's interesting because people think that it's, people are surprised at what I do, I guess, and how I do it, because it's like there's no big ritual for it. There's no, people expect me to, I don't know, pull a rabbit out of a hat or something, I don't know.
Right,
but
right.
That's not the way I work. I go into, if I do a location that's there, that I have to go physically go to, I go the minute I pull up in front of the home or the building, I know exactly what's there, I know where it is, and what it's been doing to the individual and how it found the individual, and that sort of thing. So
this just comes to you? This just comes to you in your head? There's no prior research or investigation or anything like that?
I don't believe in doing stuff like that. It wouldn't matter anyway, because and it's why, like, when I go into investigations, I go in cold. I don't know anything about anything, and I don't want to know anything about anything.
Right, understood.
I know, because I know exactly where it is. And my friend that's with me, and the Wendy's that's with me, she's kind of more of the diplomat, and she talks to the people and things, explains things. And so when I go into a location and I know where the demon is, I head straight for where it is. And, it's like I went in on this one in Battleground, Washington. I was called in. And I could feel the demon, and I knew where it was. I knew it was upstairs. I knew which room it was in. And my friend that's the minister and his wife went with me on this removal. And I told him, I said, we need to go upstairs because it's upstairs. So we start up the stairs, and about halfway up, and the demon reaches out and tries to push his wife down the stairs.
Wow.
And I slapped it away. And then we went a few more steps, and it reached in to grab Aaron's heart and start squeezing it. He felt like he was having a heart attack.
Oh no!
And I made it stop that. So we got up, and I said, we got up to the top, and I got it cornered, and then Michael and Gabe appeared on each side of it and grabbed a hold of it. I told him, I says, I want to know why you were entombed in the ground, because there's been several occasions where I've heard about demons that were entombed in the ground.
Right.
And it wasn't going to tell me. And I said, either you tell me or I'm sending you back. And so it told me it went against Lucifer. It basically rose up against him. Oh. And for his trouble, he was entombed in the ground. And I said, well, you know what? I'm sure. He says, he told me if I ever went back that he'd kill me. I'm like, well, that's a funny coincidence, because that's where I'm sending you. Back there, you deal with him. It's not my problem anymore.
Tough luck.
So all I have to do is think. All I have to do is think about it, and the demon goes back.
Wow, that's amazing. So I think Ray has another question here for you.
So, have you ever been physically attacked or harmed by demons when you're removing them?
No, they're too much in fear of her. In the war between heaven and hell, Michael disarmed Lucifer, and Ariel disarmed Lucifer's son. And so they really, really have this fear of her, and they know that if they... I asked Michael about that one time. He says, stop and think about it. He says, if they kill the body, they release Ariel, and then they're screwed. Because it would be on. She would kill them without even a second notice. He said, so I protect the body, and Ariel protects the body, so you don't have to worry about that. And one of the things is you can't have, if you're doing something like this, you can't have any doubt. You can't have any doubt in yourself, your abilities, what you're doing, and you can't have any fears.
I'd imagine they would sense that.
Oh yeah, they'll reach into your brain if they can, and they'll pull it right out.
Wow.
Only they can't do that with me because they can't get in. They can't get into my head.
Wow.
And that's another thing that bothers them is they can't. I can get into theirs, but they can't get into mine.
Right.
So they really fear her. There are 7 archangels in the world today in physical form. One of them, I know them all, but one of them is a close friend of mine who lives in Scotland.
Okay.
And he has Hanel within him.
Yeah.
And he's like Hanel and Lucifer used to be great friends before the war. And even after the war, he respects him because he chose to fight for what he believed in. So from time to time, he goes and visits Hanel, my friend Andy in Scotland. And he said he asked him one time, what he thought about Ariel. And Lucifer's response was, fear and respect the assassin.
Wow.
And
that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, because he knows that, she doesn't have any qualms about going into the dark realm and killing him if need be.
Right. So why do they actually possess people in the first place?
Well, if you stop and think, part of it is the fact that, it was the white light souls that put them into the dark realm in the first place. The war was all about because a lot of the souls wanted to have physical form again. They wanted to know love. They wanted to have children. They wanted to experience growing old. So, the other side, the ones that were followers of Lucifer, said, no, we don't want that. We don't want to be subject to a shell. We don't want to experience disease, pain, any of that stuff, dying, none of that. So that's what caused the war. And once the war was over, God put them into a dark realm. And over the centuries, the hundreds of thousands of years, they've grown angry and they've grown vengeful. So what they try to do is they try to get into the physical world through portals. They can create their own dark portals. Okay. But the thing is, man creates enough portals by doing investigations and never closing the darn door, which irritates me.
That's what I was wondering about that too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's stop and think about all the investigations that are going on, whether they're professional or non-professional. All those doors open. Hey, here's a door over here. Let's go.
Right. And just leave it open for anything to wander in.
Yeah, they don't shut.
Yeah, anything and everything. Yeah, so that's the thing. It's like I try to tell people, gotta close the darn door. You need to close it. But don't quit leaving them open. Because you're making more business for me. Stop it.
It's like it's like teaching kids all over again, right?
So, yeah.
Honestly.
But for possession, they do it. You'll never find one that will be in possession 24/7 for any length of time because they come and go because they don't want to be regulated to that shell. It's like telling a person to go into an elevator when they're claustrophobic.
Right.
They don't want to go in there. They'll do it because they have to, not because they like it or they want to. But they do that they're all about creating chaos, making the white light souls physical life as nasty and as horrible as they can make it.
That sounds like the year 2022.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you go. Close.
So once you do vanquish them, they can't come back and possess again?
No, once I kill them, they stay killed. That's in my book, The Dark Side of the Paranormal, I put it together. They tried to keep me from getting it finished and put out there. But in it, I talk about their weaknesses, their fears, their MOs, how they work, things like that. And one of their fears, their greatest fear, is death, because if they get killed, they cannot come back again.
Oh.
They are done. Their consciousness is gone. It's over, finished.
Wow. So do they?
Interesting.
So is there such a thing as like a heaven or a hell, like we know it? And is that where they go? Do you send them to hell when you vanquish them or kill them? Or?
No. When I kill them. They cease to exist. It's just like, because if I were to send them back into the dark realm, that would be one thing. And in the old days, we used to do that. But but they're getting out of control, and they've been getting out of control for the last 50 years. So basically, what we do is we just kill them, plain and simple.
So they just essentially disappear.
They disintegrate
into nothingness.
Yeah, they disintegrate. If you were to see it in a movie, sci-fi movie, it would be, somebody running a white light sword through the middle of the demon, and it just turns into sand and spreads among the stars.
Gotcha. Understood.
Wow.
Okay, speaking of dimensions and realms and things of that nature, how many different dimensions and or realms are there that you know of?
They're innumerable. Thing is, there are at least, to where the Galactic Federation exists, there's 13 different realms of existence. And then there are the ones where the Elder Council, that's number 14. And then there are the other dimensions where the dark realm, there are the dragons, and the dragons they can travel through space and time, like, they remind me of Chinese dragons that float on the air, but these guys can go through from one dimension to another, and they float on if there were the currents in space, that they float on those.
Wow, interesting.
And then there are I'm a big Doctor Who fan, but these guys are just...
Oh, I love Doctor Who.
There are the Time Lords, but they're not like any Time Lord Doctor Who. These are... They look like kind of, Watto on Star Wars, when Anakin was a kid, the green, the blue guy with the wings,
I know
right?
exactly who you're talking about.
Okay. These guys
your Jedi mind tricks don't work on me, guy.
Yeah. They kind of remind me, the Time Lords kind of remind me of that, except for there's no wings. Yeah, they don't have wings.
That's an interesting description, I gotta say.
And do they?
Yeah, they don't have wings, and they don't have that long of a nose, but they're something like that.
Do they run time, or does time not exist for them at all?
Time doesn't exist as we know it for them. It's more of a case of their perception of time is different, and they can go forwards, they can go backwards, it's like winding the clock backwards, winding the clock forwards, to see things, to see where things have gone, what they were before, but they're more observers than anything. They have a tendency not to interfere, but more observe.
Okay. So, do you believe in ETs, and can you explain what their agenda in life is?
I don't like the Greys. I can tell you that right now. I mean, being in telepathic communication with them for even just a few minutes that I was, it's like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with you. I'm shutting down. No, it's not happening. But the Galactic Federation Council and the Council of Elders, the Council of Elders were the beginning. They are basically the ones who created the Galactic Council, which is seeded from a lot of different beings and a lot of different worlds. So there's only one that looks similar to humans. Most of them don't look, they look like what we would call aliens.
Right.
But they're all, they're very nice, very highly intelligent. And they had told me, we seeded, lots of different worlds. And that's why the differences. And I'm like, okay. But these ones that are on the other side are not like physical representations. They're actually pure energy. They're created. What you see is what they're representing to you of what species that they represent.
Right.
They're made of pure energy, complex energy.
So kind of like a source.
Yeah, they resonate on the highest frequency there is.
Okay.
And people amaze me. It's like the people that have those Tennessee wraith chasers.
Yeah, yeah.
You say, I'm gonna catch them in a box, and I'm laughing. I'm like, yeah, right, okay. They can walk through walls. Let me think about that one now.
Right. June, we're coming up against a break here shortly, but I have one last question for you. You have psychic abilities. That's correct. We figured that out. I have some, I guess you could say, counterparts in Russia and the Ukraine. Do you see, with your psychic abilities, a nuclear exchange happening anytime between those two countries or NATO countries?
No.
No. Can you explain a little further into that?
It's going to stop short of it.
Okay.
The Galactic Federation is now actually and they're working on stopping that and to get things settled. But it was all about exposing. Russia's attack on them was all about exposing all these plants and research facilities that were being housed in the Ukraine for not good things.
Okay. Now, when you say housed in Ukraine for not good things, are you speaking of the Russian side or the Ukrainian side as far as not good things?
People, there were representatives from all over the world in there. What better place to go in there? You pay the country to let you have your research facility in there, and no matter how much they couldn't have it here because people would say, "What the heck are you doing? You're researching things that chemical warfare. You're researching, all different kinds of things, and that we would not put up with here. But if you pay the government enough, they'll house you there."
Now, with that being said by you, Russia about a week ago, a little less than that, came out with the claim that the United States had been testing and working with biological and chemical weapons in the Ukraine. Do you see that to be true?
Yeah, it was.
Really? Wow. Okay, so it seems to me, according to you, that there are multiple alternative motives happening in this Russian-Ukrainian war that people simply just don't know about.
Right, they don't know the full intent of it, the full reasoning behind it. And as much as everybody wants to think of Putin, which I'm not good with Putin, but he has a point there. If it exposes what's going on over there, but he could have done it in a different way. I don't know why.
He definitely couldn't have done it in a different way. But
I could have said, "You need to investigate," or something like that, or "We have proof of this or that," and had it investigated. But no, he didn't do that.
Right. No. How I had mentioned that I have counterparts and friends living in Russia, they also agree. About 99% of the Russian people thoroughly disagree with what the Russian government and Russian military are doing right now. Some for just the simple fact that, of course, Ukraine used to be a part of the Soviet Union, and there are still friends and family members who live in the Ukraine. And this operation that Putin likes to say is killing these family members and friends of the Russian
Yep.
people. So that's just one aspect of it. I
Right.
would definitely like to talk to you about that a little bit more when we come back, if we could. But we are up against a break, so we're going to take a short break. And if we can just put you on hold there just for a second, we'll be right back with you there, okay?
Okay.
Okay, I appreciate it. All right, everybody, we're talking to June Lundgren. She's a paranormal investigator. She's an author and a demon-seer. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back on Night Talks Radio. Want more Night Talks? We have you covered. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter at Night Talks Radio for bold and truthful commentary, breaking news, show updates, program guest information, and so much more. And hey, thanks for listening. Welcome back, everybody, to Night Talks Radio. We're heading into Hour 2 with our very special guest, June Lundgren. We also have a guest sit-in co-host. He goes by the name of Raymond. He'll be asking some questions tonight. And if you have questions yourself for June Lundgren, you can call the show. And we have 2 phone lines now. If you weren't around in the beginning of the show, the nationwide call-in line is 1-507-384-9390. The first-time caller line is 1-507-307-4424. Again, we have June Lundgren with us, and welcome back to the show, June.
Oh, thank you. Enjoying it.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. We hope you are, and I hope the listeners out there are too. Jennifer, you have a question for June.
Yes, I do, June. So, what are your thoughts on the Illuminati, and do you know who runs it?
Yeah, I don't, the Illuminati and Freemasons go hand in hand. And there's not just one person that runs it. It's kind of like the Cabal. The Cabal, there are 9 of them. Okay. 9 of the most powerful people in the world. And they control, finances, bank institutions, basically the whole economic structure of the world. And not all of them mean good, have good intentions. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
I don't give out any more information than that because it could be too dangerous to do that.
I see. I totally understand that part. Backtracking just a little bit, going back to your experience with dying, can you tell the audience and tell us, what was it like dying? What was the feeling?
Well, it happened so quickly. It's not like there was a long, drawn out dying. It's like right. I got hit by the car on my motorcycle. I wasn't wearing a helmet, so I ended up with a skull fracture. I was clinically dead for 2 minutes. And the first thing I saw when I went to the other side was the light, and just went into the light. My grandparents were there waiting for me, and Michael. And it was, when you get there, it's like you can hear and feel every white light soul in existence, whether it's on that side or in the physical world. And it's almost like, how you can hear it in the background, like a hum.
Yeah,
But you're aware of it, and over all of that, there's some people call the God consciousness, and you have this sense of peace and love and rightness. Like it's just everything. Like, oh, I already knew that this is how it would be. That type of thing.
Right.
It's like, oh, it just validates everything that you think that should be on the other side. And it was quite interesting because it's like I said, they made me relive all my physical world lives, and all 130 of them from 1198 AD on. Whee, that's not good.
That's amazing. And how long did that take to show you all this again?
And if you were in the physical world, it'd probably take hours and hours.
Yeah.
But on the other side, it just seemed like maybe a couple minutes.
That is amazing. So that part is true. I was always curious about that.
So
yeah, if you're there because you're dying and you're going to stay there, it's different than I was just visiting, so to speak.
Right.
If you're there because that's it, that's the end of this lifetime for you, it's a bit different. You get the light and everything, but you review your life from not only your perspective, but the perspective of everyone else that's important in your life, like your mother, your father, your brothers, sisters, husband, wife, all that stuff.
So
so that you can see what you did was wrong, or what you did that was right, or what you can do better, how you can improve it, that sort of thing.
So that was my next question, is you basically go through your trials and tribulations.
Yeah, you do that, and people don't understand there are certain things that are set in stone. The time you come into the world, the physical world, and the date that you leave the physical world, and the method in which you leave the physical world. A lot of people think, that, why would you plan ahead to get hit by a train, standing
Right,
on a train?
right.
That's got to hurt, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Or why would you commit suicide? People think, you're going to commit suicide, you're going to condemn your soul to hell. I hate to say it, but it's BS, because even if you think of it logically, okay, so if you're in that much pain and you're suffering that much, what kind of a loving and forgiving God would condemn you to hell?
Right.
Because you're in that pain and you want out.
Right.
That's not the way it is. It's you contract to die in this manner. But what they don't tell you is you don't know the circumstances surrounding that death. You just know, I'm going to die of a heart attack on the 5th of June, 2023. And that's it. You don't know who's present, what you're doing. Were you in the car? Were you sitting at home? Were you on the toilet? Whatever. You don't know who finds your body. You don't know any of that stuff. You don't know any of the situations surrounding the actual death.
Wow. So are you seeing this actually when you have a near-death experience and you go up to heaven, or you meet, per se, God? Are you seeing exactly how you are going to die?
Most people don't, but I already know my death, so I'm not worried about it. I'm dying at the age of 93. I'm going to go to sleep, and I'm not going to wake back up. I've seen that. I asked God about that, and He said, "So this is my gift to you." And He showed me my death, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm good with that. I've already been dead once. What's the big deal?"
Right. I suppose so.
Now,
I got another 33 years to go. So there we go.
Yeah.
now, I have another question here for you. When a person dies, do you necessarily have to stay in, I guess, quote unquote, heaven for so many years, or do you have to complete a certain amount of tasks or something along those lines first before you even get a chance to say come back or reincarnate or whatever have you?
No, it's all about free will. If you leave today and you say, I'm not doing it, I'm so sick and tired of it, and you go to the other side, and if you intend to stay for a while, they give you a job to do. You can't just sit around freeload. You got to have a job
right.
to do.
You got to have something to do.
But if you say, wow, that was really good, I really enjoyed that, I want to do it again, and you can come back right away. Wow. The only problem is there's the transition stuff that you have to take that into account. Like, okay, my husband's one of those people, if you can't touch it, feel it, or see it, it doesn't exist. He's very left-brained. He's an auditor.
Yeah.
He's an auditor. What more can I say?
Me and him have a lot in common.
Yeah. But when he was, this was about 10 years ago, he had a dream 3 nights in a row, and it's exactly the same dream, exactly. And he's on board the Arizona, and he's down in the rec room below decks, and he's walking through water like you walk through air.
Right. And
he says the big topic of conversation was, how come they didn't come for us? Because they entombed those men down there. They never retrieved their bodies.
Right.
He says, the next thing I know, I'm up on the Arizona, the memorial, and I'm running my finger down until I find my name. When I find my name, I wake up. I said, well, do you remember what the name was? And he said, no. He says, can you get me a list of the men that died on the Arizona? And there's 18 pages of men that died on the Arizona.
Wow.
So I gave him the list, and page 13, he says, this is it. This is who I was. And this is, like I said, this is a man, if you can't touch, feel, or see it, it doesn't exist. He says, this is who I was. My name was Raymond Arthur Roby. And I drowned. And he has an absolute 100% fear of drowning. Absolute. He has never even slipped in the bathtub in all of his life. but he has this massive fear of drowning. So
June,
that,
I hate to cut you off
over.
real quick, but it looks like we have a phone call coming in. Hold on one moment.
Okay.
Hello, caller. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, how's it going? And who is this?
This is James Conger.
James Ponder. All right. How are we doing tonight?
Conger.
Oh, Conger.
Doing great.
Conger with a C. Okay. Do you have a question?
You're in our little Facebook group.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I should know that. You have a question for June tonight?
Sure, you bet.
All right. Go right ahead.
Okay. Question I have. I've known people that talking to people who've been claim they've been abducted by aliens and that they'll have other paranormal experiences, also encounters with demons or spirits or angels, or even have astral travel. And I think I remember one time I asked a guest about if demons and aliens are the same thing, and I remember her saying that they were probably separate entities. But I wonder what might be the reason that so many of these people who are also abductees also will have these kind of other experiences. Is there like some sort of a portal or something that's opened up that then invites in these other things that are not associated with demons?
Usually, it's people that have abilities. Whether they know it or not. A lot of people have intuitive abilities and they don't even realize that they have it. But it leaves you open to all kinds of things. The demons, because you're a white light soul. If you have abilities, it's like a moth to a flame. They'll go look at, they'll see you in the darkness, so to speak. And, of course, the extraterrestrials want people with abilities, telepathic abilities, so that they can communicate. And it'll draw in all kinds of things to you.
Oh, so it's probably like opening up like a
portal, a door.
Or something?
Yeah, it's like opening a door, to all different ranges of dimensions. It'd be different if there's just one dimension, but they're, innumerable dimensions.
So do you think that the extraterrestrials people encounter are maybe extra-dimensional beings as well?
Some of them can be, yeah. Some of them can be like the Time Lord ones. They're interdimensional. They go in all these different dimensions, because they can just walk right through them, kind of like the dragons. They just float right through them.
And do you think the demons are the same as, say, the jinn? So we hear so much about as well.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, the jinn is a demon. It's an old demon, very old and very nasty type demons. Not that there's any that are good, but
Right.
Very interesting questions.
Yeah, intriguing questions, my friend.
Yeah, it's good. That's the things that have always puzzled me, knowing people that I talk to that are abductees and that. Like the guests you've had on your show before and that, and I just found that very perplexing that they have all these other experiences, and I'm like, they must be some way that they're related.
Yeah, they're all related because of their abilities, whether they know it or not, and that's why they would have all these, and they're open to it. A lot of people that shut their minds down and people that turn off their abilities or suppress their abilities, that they're not open to it, so they won't experience it unless it's forced upon them.
That's why there's some people that are like paranormal magnets, I'd call them.
Yeah.
That seems like.
Yeah, there you go. Paranormal magnets.
Yeah, I know all about that.
Yeah.
Just automatically attracted. Right. I totally understand that.
Yeah, you live with one, don't you?
Yeah, I guess I kind of do. But, some great questions there, James. Do you have anything else for us?
I can't really think of anything else offhand. That's just something that I just that's really bugged me, really puzzled me for some time. Like I said, with all the people that I came in contact with, become good friends with on Facebook and stuff, who have all these experiences, and it's like, well, you're having all this happen to you. I'm like, gee, boy, my life is boring.
Don't you? Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that myself. It's just this multitude of different things that happen out there, and I think that I've had experiences and things that other people would call weird or strange or paranormal or whatever have you. But compared to other people, I feel quite minuscule, like a chihuahua, in a world full of greyhounds or something. It's just it's a very strange feeling that.
Especially compared to a so-called wife over here.
And then of course living with somebody who is in tap with the paranormal as well. That's a whole other story. But great questions, James, and I'm glad that you were able to call in tonight.
Yeah, of course, some of the other people that have had these experiences have been, sometimes you think, well, I'm not sure I want to experience that or not,
Right.
Because some of them are really very unpleasant from what they've had done to them. And
my gosh, they're the stories that I've heard are, I mean, the only way I can even figure to describe.
But those are the Greys.
The Greys would be terrifying. I mean, there's some stuff out there that I wouldn't want to be a part of to save my life. I mean, it's outrageous. And of course, here on Night Talks Radio, we like to leave it up to the guest. Is it true? Is it not true? It's totally up to you. It's for you to decide. We don't try to force anything into your mind. We want you to think what you are going to think about the situations. But like I said, some of the things that I hear, it's pretty hard to make up. Let's put it that way. So whoever states some of these things out there. It's almost unthinkable that they created this in their own head or anything of that nature.
Right, and myself, James, I actually look forward to them contacting me. I mean, I get a sense of joy and happiness, and I'm glad to be able to leave this earth for a short while and see what they have to show me.
She's contacted all the time. To tell the normal average person that, they're like, oh, okay, sure. But, with people like us and June and whatnot, they understand. We understand, this stuff happens. It's out there. And, I'm very thankful that it's starting to come to light now, especially at the government level. This can't be hidden much longer, things of that nature, UAPs, UFOs, paranormal, all kinds of stuff, dimensions we just spoke about. It's all coming to the forefront.
Is that correct, June?
Yep, it is. It's the time of awakening.
It is. I believe most of you out there probably know by now that I'm a huge fan of Art Bell, but his book, The Quickening, is quite spot on. I feel that we're living in that quickening that he speaks of almost as we speak right now. So.
Oh, but the questions we have for June here will explain a little bit more about what Earth has in store for it in the future.
Yes, much more for June here. But James, I want to thank you for calling in. It's always a pleasure. I'm sorry for saying your last name wrong. I should totally
that's
know
fine.
But,
I get that a lot. That's okay.
Well, my last name is Brewer with a U. And my name is misspelled or misspoken at least 10 times a day. It's usually Bauer. I get the most, but nowhere near Brewer. So.
That mean you don't have a name like Smith or something, right?
It's just, wow. Yeah, it couldn't be easy, but all right, I appreciate it. Oh, do you have something to say there, Ray?
Well, at least you don't have a last name that can be, like Rathsack.
We have, if you've been listening to the program, we have a special sit-in co-host tonight. His name is Raymond, but his last name is Rathsack. So you can only imagine
The torment I got at the time.
the torment and things of that nature that he had to go through. And just like you said, it could be easily confused with Rathsack.
Yeah, exactly.
Some wonderful names out there in this world today, I swear.
But, James, we do have to go ahead and get through these questions here before the end of the night. We appreciate you calling, as always, and we hope to hear from you again tomorrow night.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys very much.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Okay, bye-bye.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Go ahead.
Now, June, I have heard that when the world comes to an end, at least when it comes close, that we will work with the ETs in an intergalactic program to survive on other planets. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, when it comes to an end, I don't think we're going to have to worry about that. I don't think there'd be much of us left. But
Right.
besides that, it's like we're already, we have the alien DNA within us, if we want to call it that. So our DNA is constantly changing and constantly morphing. If you look back on, quote unquote, the caveman versus how we are today, things are constantly changing. Even in the short time when I was in, like, say, grade school, and to what it is when I went from grade school to high school, kids are getting taller. Have you noticed over the last, the physical characteristics are changing. Kids are getting taller. People are becoming, well, I better not say that. People are not, utilizing as much of their brains as they should.
Right.
We have a tendency to get, to steer towards what's the easiest instead of, striving for more intelligence, which we should do. But I can see us, almost reverting to, going back to what our original DNA was.
Okay. So you can also see that when we do go to other planets to live, that our body physically can't live alone on that other planet. We have to have the alien DNA to survive. Is that correct?
Yeah, you'd have to compensate your physical. It's like when the fish were, dinosaur fish, and they started walking on the earth and stuff like that. You have to adapt. You have to change. Your physical body needs to change. Otherwise, you will not survive.
Right. I understand. I think Ray has another question here for you, so go ahead, Ray.
Well, my question is, are you familiar with the term indigo children? They're usually diagnosed as mentally divergent, such as on the autism spectrum. And they're more in touch with, like, the spiritual side.
Yeah, although I really think that they're more like they're more crystal children than indigos. Indigos are they vary a little bit because it's like my son's an indigo, and indigo children have increased sense of smell, heightened sense of smell, taste, vision, touch, that sort of thing.
So is that similar to a star child?
No. Star children are kind of in between an indigo and a crystal child. Okay. They have some of the characteristics of a crystal child and some of the indigo child.
Okay, but there are many indigo and star children living on the earth today, correct?
Oh, yeah. Well, see, the crystal children are just here to bring awareness.
Okay.
That's their whole goal. It's not about, I'm going to save the world. It's all about bringing awareness of autism, of, different forms of autism, Asperger's, physical and mental disabilities, things like that.
I'm actually on the autism spectrum.
Cool.
Ray.
Ray is
Yeah,
Ray's on
Ray's
the,
mentioning that
yeah.
he is on the spectrum of autism as well.
Yeah, I have friends that are, my friend in Connecticut, her son is high-functioning Asperger's. So, and I have a friend in England whose daughter has some autism as well.
Now, just because they have this genetic disorder,
Mental divergent.
okay.
There you go.
Yeah. Thank you so much for correcting that. They still have the alien DNA as well as us, correct?
Right, of course, yeah.
Okay. So they're not missing that.
No, they're not.
Okay.
Okay, I have a question, just a little off subject from what we're speaking about now, but in the Bible, if that is, what you might read, it speaks about the Antichrist. Have you had any visions of the coming of the Antichrist or who he may be?
He is already here. No need to come. He's already
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you comment further on that?
That's just I know of him.
You know of him. Is he in the political arena? Are you still there, June? Oh, it looks like we lost June. If you are out there still, it looks like we lost our connection with you. Surprise, surprise. If this is your first time.
I believe that when I was talking with her, Daniel, she cannot explain who he is.
Okay.
All she explained to me is that they are taking care of him. They are getting rid of him.
Care of him. Okay. Well, I can't imagine that's why she would be disconnected. At least I wouldn't want to think that. If you are still out there and listening to the broadcast, please call back in. We will wait several minutes. It looks like you are indeed. Here. Hello.
Hi. I lost my power.
There you are.
That was strange.
I lost
power.
Here's the thing with that, a little side note. Just about every show we have a instance like this where the caller just disappears. So this is not the first time. It seems to be a ghost in the system that's been plaguing us for probably the past month now, I would say. So
it typically happens when we try to get more in detail with a question that maybe they don't want out there.
It's very strange, but we've gotten used to it. I think I left left off with you by mentioning, is he in the political arena? Are you able to answer that?
Yeah, no, he's not.
He's not. Okay.
No.
All right. I was curious about that. I will not ask any further about that. Jennifer?
So, June, a lot of theorists out there believe that Earth is going to be destroyed by asteroid Apophis.
2029.
In 2029. Daniel knows a little bit more about this.
No, it's not. It's not ending then. When I was given oh, there it goes. Looks like I got my power back.
Oh, good. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
When I was given when I did the first book of mine, the Medium's Guide to the Paranormal, God gave me some prophecies.
Okay.
And he said that one of them was that in 2009 when I finished it, it was 2008 when I was writing it. He said that there would be the Ring of Fire, the volcanoes that are under the ocean.
Pacific Rim?
Yeah, that they were going to, in 125 years, that they would set off a chain reaction. and
Really?
that a lot of the coastline on the west coast would be gone. It would start tsunamis. It would start, these tidal waves and stuff, and it would destroy a lot of our technology. It would interrupt it. We would go back to like the old way of doing things, bartering system and stuff like that.
So you that sounds similar to, say, like an EMP wave.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay.
Essentially a reset.
So yeah, you would call that a global reset.
Definitely a
of sorts?
reset. Yeah. Yep,
Okay.
literally. Yeah.
Okay. What do you think, this is just a spin-off subject as well, but what do you think is this almost hurried desire now to get off the planet, to get to the moon, to get to Mars, specifically by Elon Musk and SpaceX before a certain amount of time? You're telling me that this does not have anything to do with a possible asteroid impacting the Earth?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
It's all about colonizing and finding other places for humans to live.
Okay. And I guess while we're on the subject, Elon Musk himself, is he a good man?
Yes, there's a lot of light in him.
A lot of light. Okay. It seems with his possible purchase of Twitter and things of that nature, I really thoroughly believe that yes, he is out there trying to help as well. So, Jennifer,
I do believe Ray has a question here for you.
Yep, and Ray has another question for you. Yep.
All right. So, besides all your exciting life that you're leading right now, have you managed to travel anywhere else interesting?
Oh yeah. I've been to the UK a couple of times. Been to Scotland. Been to Wales, Canada, Mexico in my younger years.
Can you explain a little bit about where you visited in Scotland? I know it was very interesting when we were talking the other day.
Yeah, it was quite interesting. I have friends that live in Scotland, so went to Edinburgh and went to the Edinburgh tunnels.
Okay.
Down there where they're saying that they're they're so haunted, blah blah blah. Yeah.
The Edinburgh tunnels. What is that like exactly? What?
It's like Edinburgh. At one time, a lot of the shops and stuff used to be underground.
Oh.
And people had, like in England, they had a tendency to live underground. To avoid. There was a lot of disease and things like that. And the lower class would live in these underground like cities, so to speak, and they call it. In Edinburgh there was a big network of tunnels, kind of like the Shanghai tunnels, and
I see.
In Portland here, they lived under there, and they're saying how haunted they were and stuff like that. It's quite interesting. They're not haunted in a bad way.
Okay.
I mean, I went on the tour there. But I think there's more haunting in, I went to Hampton Court, which is a summer palace of King Henry VIII. I went with my friend Howard Hughes. He does the Unexplained Files out of the UK.
Okay.
And we went there, and we just started. We had lunch there, and we went into the main hallway, and I hear the door off to the left, and they had those massive wooden doors with the wrought iron hinges and stuff. And the door opened up, and then I see Henry VIII standing there, and I'm like, really? and he looks at me, and he's like, witch. And I said, bite me. You're fatter and uglier in your pictures. and he slammed the door shut. And I'm like, bite me.
Boy.
Oh, wow. Wow, what to see. I mean, that would be awesome to see.
my friend, Howard's like, what'd you see? And I told him, he's like, God, I wish I could see that. And then we went into another section where there were some negative entities down in what they used to call a meat cellar. And if you go on my YouTube channel, you can see I'm doing a removal of them out there. There's a video of it. My son went and he taped it while I was doing it. So, It was quite interesting.
So
The other one I had was, there's a place called the Cage in England. It was a medieval women's witches prison.
Oh, wow.
And it was considered one of the most haunted locations in all of England.
I bet.
And a friend of mine said to me, he says, give me a call. And I said, listen, I can't. I'm over in the UK. And she's like, well, can you help this woman? And so she sent me the information on her. And so I sent a message on Facebook to the woman. And she says, I usually don't answer this. She says, but something compelled me to answer. And I said, just send me a picture of the location. Because I can't get, it's 3 hours away. And I had no transportation other than the train and stuff. And I told her, just send me that picture and I'll do it while I'm on the treadmill. I gotta do things at one time. Yeah. So she sent it to me and I did the removal. There's quite a few demons in there. So I did the removal and she called me back and I said, this done. I said, you don't have to worry about it. She said, well, I have this famous American psychic coming in, Chris Fleming, and he doesn't deal with negative entities. And I said, tell him he can go in. They're all gone. There's nothing to worry about. So she called me back after he went in the next day, and she said, you're right, there was nothing left. I'm like, yeah, I do good work. Come on.
Right. Just a little bit curious. I have a tendency to bounce around, if you haven't noticed that already. But I got to hear your thoughts on this so-called scandemic that we've been dealing with what feels like 10 or 20 years now. But what do you think about that situation? And do you see in the future, particularly the upcoming midterms in 2022, things getting better or on their way to getting better with perhaps conservative presidency in 2024?
Yeah, they're on their way to getting better. You don't really want to know my opinion of the quote unquote pandemic. I've been in medicine for 47 years.
Okay.
And I've been through like SARS, which devastated Canada in 2003, and
right.
Yeah, early.
we never wore masks back then. We don't wear. It's like whatever. But when we do testing there's no real. Yeah, I'll probably get in trouble for this.
No,
there's
go
no real
ahead.
test.
Go ahead.
I want to hear what you have to say.
There's no real test for COVID.
Okay.
The test that they do, when you look at the results, they test for influenza and they test for SARS.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yep.
And what gets me is, and you notice how the influenza disappeared.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that today.
Yep. The flu
Yeah,
has
amazing
never been
how that
talked
happens,
about
isn't it?
again.
Amazing how that happens.
The flu is completely gone. Virtually colds are completely gone. But
and then this monkeypox is coming about.
Oh, good Lord! Yeah, monkeypox. Now we have to worry about. That's the next fear-mongering tactic.
It's not viral. It's transmitted.
Yeah, it's not even
person
viral.
to person. For mostly males.
See, unfortunately, we understand that completely, but there's plenty of people out there that are going to say, oh my God, I need to stay in my house again and get whatever vaccine they're telling me to get almost immediately. That's the sad part about that. But yes, the whole scandemic thing. This was obviously planned. At least that's how I feel. Do you see this whole game, I guess you could say, finally coming to an end anytime soon?
Yeah, reluctantly, but yeah, it'll get better towards the end of. It'll get better towards the end of summer, and then it'll continue to get better on into the later part of this year.
Right. Now, you did actually talk a little bit at the beginning of the show here about your book, Demon-Seer. For those people in the audience who actually missed that, can you explain a little bit more about that book?
Oh, yes.
Do you have any more upcoming projects underway?
Yeah, I have a book that's almost completely finished. It's the second in the Demon Seekers series. It's a fantasy based on the 7 angels in the world today. It's almost complete. I have a couple of chapters left to finish. So I'm hoping to get it out before the end of summer. And then the second in the Demon-Seer series, that's coming. That should be out by the end of this year.
Okay. And then I do believe Ray has something more to add.
Well, I'm just curious as are you more afraid of demons or people? As a person can be smart, but people as a group are stupid.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
I'd rather deal with a demon at a time. Like
now,
at least you know what you're getting.
Right. Yeah. Very true. You don't know what you're getting with a human being. To be honest with you, at least the demon's intentions are quite clear.
They make it crystal clear.
But they are dumb at times too, right?
Oh yeah, the younger ones are stupid, the lesser demons, but that's because they're just like hormonal teenagers.
Right, and God knows how vicious they can be.
Oh yeah, they're the ones you're going to find in the physical world because they promote chaos. They love chaos. They love causing problems. The old demons are too smart for that. Rarely do you find them down here. If you do, it's usually because they're given a job by Lucifer, or they're taking revenge on somebody for something. Somebody did something to them.
Right.
Well, usually you don't last very long if you're stupid.
Right, yeah.
True.
Yeah,
True.
Honestly.
So we do actually have one question here that just came in. This is from James West, and he has a terrible headache right now, so he does apologize. He can't call in.
Sorry about that headache, James.
So, do all dimensions have the same heaven and hell, or do they have their own for each dimension?
Well, they have their own individual, it's just like every country has their own, ideas of, what a demon is or a name for a demon.
Right.
It's the same thing with the dimensions. They each have their own, quote unquote, heaven and hell, so to speak. The duality, one, you can't have one without the other.
Right, absolutely.
Understandable.
Speaking, I wanted to mention this earlier when we were talking about heaven and hell. I always thought that, for example, if one were to go to hell, say, hell would maybe be an eternity of reliving the most difficult times in your life over and over and over. Sad moments, somebody passing that you loved.
Bad things you did.
Bad things that you did, things of that nature. That's how I would take hell. In a situation, but there's people have multiple different ideas of what hell is, but that was my own personal opinion. But I grew up Catholic, June. I grew up Catholic, and I believe in a higher power. I believe in things like that. I just have to have knowledge. I have to know. I have to. How you mentioned earlier, be able to touch it or see it. I'm currently agnostic, just in the fact that I have much to learn, and there's facts that I need to find out before I can truly find out. I believe in a higher power, but I just don't know what that is quite yet.
My husband's agnostic. So,
there you go. And I noticed that many people have turned agnostic. because it's you want to do your research. You want to find out what the truth is. You want to discover it. You just don't want to be told that's how it is. I believe early on people had to have a reason to be here. If they were told that perhaps God wasn't real and you were only here because of science. And that you were nothing more than dust, space dust, and when you pass on, you turn into nothing but stardust, and there's nothing beyond that. I think people would go completely crazy, and it would be chaos. So there has to be something in place for the human population to exist and continue moving forward, knowing that they could possibly go to heaven or hell, and that they're living for something or somebody.
Yeah, it makes sense. You have to have something to strive for,
Yes.
It's like, people think about, talk about the Bible and stuff. The Bible is a guide, nothing more than a guide. And the original one was created for the people of that time.
That's correct.
Right.
That's correct.
In that time, black is black and white is white, and there are no shades of gray.
Right.
And then Jesus came down, and it was updated. And it's like, no, there are shades of gray. Basically, a guide for how to live your life. But it's like I've said many times, we have many conversations. He says, I judge a person by their heart.
Yes.
It's not necessarily by their actions. He says, because from your heart, everything comes. The truth comes from the heart. It's like it says in the Bible. It's like it says in the Bible, it's not that which goes into the mouth that defiles the man, but that which proceedeth from the mouth. Because everything that proceedeth from the mouth proceedeth from the heart.
That is correct.
Yes,
I couldn't agree more.
Yes. So
It's all about that.
just a few more questions here, and then we actually, unfortunately, have to end the show here. But before we go, you also do psychic readings in your spare time, and I don't truly know how you do that. I mean, do you have a magic power or a magic potion? Because if you do, I need some right away too.
Yeah, pass that along, will you? I'll give you the address at the end of the show.
Yeah, I've been working 60 hours a week from home because I had surgery on my foot. So it's like been doing that medical side of that and writing and doing the readings. So
Wow, you are a busy person. Anyway,
Anyway, can you tell everyone how we can get a hold of you for an investigation, reading, or any questions they may have?
There you go.
You can go to my website, mysticconnections.org, and you can send me, there's a contact form in there. Just send me your information and a message, and I'll get back to you when I can. I'm also on Facebook. You just look up June Lundgren or demon-seer.
Okay.
The one.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Either one, and you can find my books on Amazon.com. Just look up my name, and there's 9 of them there.
I was just going to ask that. So Amazon.com.
wow.
Okay, that's excellent.
9 books. You have been busy.
9 books. Wow. Okay. So you have a cavalcade of reading material that people can check out. That's excellent. Now, if somebody has an issue, with, say, demons or things of that nature, do you travel?
Not really.
So you wouldn't you don't make trips, say, to their home or anything like that if it's something.
But if it's local, yeah, but I don't really need to leave my home. All I need is a picture of the location or the individual.
Okay, gotcha. That's okay.
And I can do it from a distance. That's why I said I've done it as far away as Australia and New Zealand and Netherlands.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
But you do not charge for it. Is that correct?
Oh, that's God's work. You don't charge for that.
And that right there,
That's
folks
amazing, yes.
out there listening to the program right now.
That is the way it should be.
I will tell you that is a perfect identifier in who is real and who is not. I thoroughly believe the people that charge money for services such as this that June partakes in are frauds. I'll just come out and say it. But people that don't charge money, those are the real deal. I can tell you that firsthand.
Right.
So.
Yeah, because nobody in their right mind would do this.
No,
No.
I don't
They
know.
didn't have to.
It's not safe, neither.
I don't know who would want to benefit financially from things like this, so... but yeah, you sound like the real deal. You act like the real deal. You answer questions like the real deal. I am very pleased to have you on the show. Jennifer, do you have any final questions?
No, just that when you do have your psychic readings, you don't charge a whole lot, like an arm and a leg for them, are you?
No, I charge $60 for half an hour and $100 for an hour, and I guess I'm supposedly that's cheap. I wouldn't know. I raised my rates a couple years ago after 30 years of charging, half of that. So.
Wow.
Well, geez, with the economy, you almost had to, unfortunately.
That is absolutely amazing, folks. I would jump on that right away. These psychic readings are very thorough as well. She still has yet to give me a psychic reading, but we're going to work on that.
I wouldn't mind being a part of that as well. So, if you got time. But, we look forward to more of your exciting stories. I hope that you will have the time to come back on the show in the very near future.
Always hanging around. I'm going to England again in September, so
England
be
in
available
September.
Then.
That is, I have never been to England. I've been many, many places, but England I still have not. So you're going to have to call back in and tell us all about that.
Yeah. When do you expect your new book to come out?
Yes.
Before the end of summer, I'll have the second in the Demon-Seeker series, and I have 3 other books in the works as well.
Perfect.
Well, maybe we can get you back to talk about that second series.
Yeah, I think that would be a more realistic goal there. Get you back on before those books are released. Get people in the know right away so they know where to go and what to do to get your insight on things. But,
so, once again, before you leave, June, can you tell us again what that email is for people to get a hold of you?
Yep, one more time.
Yeah, you can go on to mysticconnections.org, and you can just fill out the contact, and it'll send it to me, and I usually respond between 24 and 48 hours.
Okay, no problem. I think Ray wants to say one thing too.
Well, I appreciate your time, and thanks for talking with us.
As a guest, June, how did Ray do?
He did good.
I think he has a future in radio, so we'll have to have him on more often. That's for sure. But, okay, I want you to have a wonderful evening, and again, thank you for coming on Night Talks Radio, and we hope to speak to you very, very soon, June.
Have a great weekend, June. Thank you so much.
You too. Take care.
Okay, so long.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, that was June Lundgren. She was quite entertaining. Jen, thoughts?
Very intriguing. She is actually very, very amazing woman. I had a long conversation with her. I think I spoke to her for a good 2 hours before we even started the show to get to know her a little bit and understand her experiences and everything. She's so open-hearted about everything, and it's just amazing, and I can't believe how much energy this person has.
you do get a sense right away. I like to say that I have a sixth sense about people, and right away with June, I got that feeling that she's simply a good person. She's good-hearted. She's telling the truth about things. and she thoroughly believes in what she's saying. Ray, what did you take from this whole interview?
I found it very interesting, very intriguing.
Yes, indeed.
Very easy to talk to.
Yeah, that's another thing. She
Yes.
was very easy to talk to. She was very casual. Sometimes you don't get guests like that.
No.
But
No.
she was one that easily guided you through, so to speak, if you really didn't know how to come at her question-wise and things of that.
Right. And then talking to her, when I did call and reach out to her first, she knew exactly who I was. Like, she knew that I was a light
how baffling
seeker.
is that?
She knew that I had white light soul. She said I had an angelic soul. She knew everything about me.
It's the little teeny things.
And she hadn't even met me. She didn't even see a picture of me unless she had looked previous. But yeah.
That's what gives me goosebumps, are the people that are able to do that, to call me out, to know exactly what I'm all about or what I've been through in the past.
Yep.
We had a gentleman who was going to come on the show. I am not going to say any names at this point, but I will give him one thing. He also did the same thing, and he was spot on, almost 110%, to the point that it made me do a cartoonish-like double take when you told me what he was saying. I couldn't believe it.
Yes, it
how
was
spot on
crazy.
he was.
But see, another thing is you've really got to pay attention, because when they actually give you a reading, they could very well be, because I do horoscopes, they could very well be pulling from your horoscope as well. So
True.
you have to be
True.
very careful about that.
Well, yes, you automatically need to watch out for anybody out there in reality. So, but June, just another great interview, I think, that we had here on Night Talks Radio.
Yes, and Daniel, you said we do have some new exciting things coming up here for NTR. Can you go ahead and explain a little bit?
We sure do. I don't want to take too much time on it, but I will tell you that, number one, NTR Daily Updates is changing its name. We are going to be now NTR Daily, nice and smooth and streamlined. Of course, we'll still have the same updates and stories and news that we originally had with NTR Daily Updates. As well, you are coming back on Fridays, specifically next Friday, with Night Talks Radio News, which, of course, we know what that's all about. International news, local news, and national news, amongst many other things. And then you, Jennifer, I will give you the microphone to tell folks what you have coming up that's going to be brand new. That was, I guess you could say, by request.
Yes, a lot of fans have actually requested this. Because of my horoscopes being so popular and my event of the day and the quote of the day, I have actually started a spin-off to NTR, and it is called Astronomical Insights.
We are going to be testing that show out next week. We don't have specific times right now, but I will assure you, after Memorial Day, we will have some sort of times and dates up for you. But yes, she is correct, because of the popularity, and that is no joke, folks, from Australia to Canada to even Denmark, of all places, we have had requests for Jennifer Gregerson's horoscopes. So we're going to deliver on that with a brand new spin-off.
That is correct. And during that spin-off, I will actually have one more surprise in store for you guys. It will be a new segment within that spin-off that I will be actually introducing as well.
And for now, we're going to keep that a secret. And unfortunately, folks, we are out of time. So, for me, Daniel Brewer, and the wonderful Jennifer Gregerson, we are about to head out of here, but before we do, tomorrow, don't forget, we are back live on the air, 9 p.m. Central Time, 10 p.m. Eastern. We are going to have a wonderful guest for you. His name is Jim Andre, and he was abducted by UFOs, and his story is quite intriguing, and I can assure you that you shall be glued to your seat. And as we had today, we will also have a special sit-in guest co-host. He goes by the name of James Harp. Some of you might be familiar with him already, as he does the show Cosmic Horizons, and that is on Blog Talk Radio. He will be with us asking questions away as well. That is tomorrow, 9 p.m., right here on Night Talks Radio. So for NTR, June Lundgren, Jennifer Gregerson, and our special sit-in guest, Raymond Rathsack, Spreaker.com, and me, Daniel Brewer. Until the next NTR, stay safe and remember, they are listening.